Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys at Magic. This is Hunter and Shane. Say what up, Shane.
What's up, nerds?
We are back taking a look at your $300 upgrade addition to Jeskai Striker. That's right, we've already seen the $100 upgrade of that deck. Now it's the bigger, the badder, it's the scarier edition. I'm very excited to see what you see with this. But as a reminder, we are talking about the face commander here on YouTube. That is Shiko and Narset unified. Yeah, if you wanted to see the backup of Elsha, we've also done that too, over exclusive on our Patreon. Check the link in the description below. But before we get started, Shane, just remind the people what Shiko and Narset does and the direction of the deck.
Gladly. It is one, a blue, a red, and a white for a 4/4 human spirit dragon. It has flying and vigilance and flurry, which is a new mechanic that is awesome. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy that spell if it targets a permanent or player, and you may choose new targets for the copy. If you don't copy a spell this way, draw a card. I think it's great because it has a healthy mixture of spells that target something and spells that maybe don't. So either way, you're going to get another copy and benefit that way, or you're going to draw a card, and card draw wins games. So I think that this is a really cool take on the Spellslinger deck.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the flurry mechanic. Um, so I'm excited to see what you did with this. So let's go ahead and get into these dishes. Before we do, I just want to remind everybody to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you're staying up to date. But yeah, like I said, this is a sequel, Shane. So everything on the screen right now, those are cards coming over from the 100 to this one, right?
Yes, sir. They're bangers. I
Right.
liked them there. I still like them.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and get on these new additions. We will kick it off with some creatures. Talk to me about them.
Yeah. Hybrid creatures. I'll start with this one. I'm throwing in Ral Monsoon Mage. It's one in a red for a 1/3 human wizard. It says instants and sorcery spells you cast cost one less to cast. And it also says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell during your turn, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, Ral Monsoon Mage deals 1 damage to you. If you win the flip, you may exile Ral. If you do, return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. And then the back half is a planeswalker. So like I said, it was a little half creature, half not. And the back is another Ral. It's starting loyalty of 2. It has a static ability that says it enters the battlefield with an additional loyalty counter on it for each instant and sorcery spell you've cast this turn. It's got a +1 that says until your next turn, instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. It's got a -2 that says Ral deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Draw a card if you control a blue permanent other than Ral. And then its ultimate at -8. Exile top 8 cards of your library. You may cast an instant and sorcery spell from among them this turn without paying their mana cost. I think both halves are equally good in my opinion for this deck. The front half is a static ability that just makes everything cheaper. The back half, it is a plus that only works on your turn. That's okay. If you even can get to that alt, which maybe not right away, but depending on how many spells you cast before it flips, that -8's awesome because it now gives you access to everything that you've already cast prior, and you're actually casting them. So that will trigger if you have a big spell as your second. So there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, there is a lot going on here, and I can see exactly why you've thrown in Ral here. It works very well with this deck. Spellslinger.
Yeah, more spell slinging. Speaking of spell slinging, I got to throw a card in that I haven't seen in a long time, and I think it actually works very well with this commander. So Snapcaster Mage is going in for me. One in a blue for a 2/1 human wizard with flash. It says when this creature enters, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to the mana cost. This is awesome because for this deck, you want to have the 1/2 punch setup, spell 1, spell 2. With Snapcaster in your hand, you're kind of guaranteeing the 1/2. You cast Snapcaster as your first. Whatever you target with flashback becomes the second. And hopefully that's something that targets again. Then you'll copy it with your commander. So I thought it was a really cool way to just kind of be like, hey, with this one card, I'm kind of guaranteeing that I'm going to have the 1/2.
Yeah, it's once again fits really well in this deck. Snapcaster Mage was a powerhouse, still is a powerhouse. Um, it's a welcomed addition for sure.
Yeah, an oldie but a goodie.
But we are a spell slinger, so let's talk about those spells that you can start slinging. We'll throw sorceries first.
Yeah, I figured that after playing this deck and the backup, it kind of plays a little different. It is a Spellslinger deck, but if you want to be capitalizing on the copying ability, you're most likely playing things that are a little bit bigger, things that maybe target. So I want to throw some of those things in this deck to make it really spicy. The first one I'm throwing in is Bribery. For 3 and 2 blue, it's a sorcery. Search target opponent's library for a creature card. Put that card into play under your control. Then that player shuffles their library. If this is your second spell, which I really hope it is, and your commander's on the field, you get to have that ability twice. And you're basically just saying, I'm going to target my opponent, grab their biggest, baddest thing, and then I'm going to get it. And then if it copies, I guess you could target the same player, make them really mad, target somebody else. Like this card's nuts when it doubles up.
Definitely target the person at the table that is running that kind of gruel style big smash, lots of
Yep,
creatures. And then, hey, this is a dragon set. Take their best dragons.
exactly. I thought that'd be very fun.
Yeah.
Another one I'm throwing in is whenever I have the chance to take extra turns, I'll take it. So I'm throwing in Time Warp for 3 and 2 blue. It's a sorcery. Target player takes another turn after this one. This one in particular, I think works really well with this deck because it has the word target. So that way, if it is your second spell, which I hope it is again, you double up on that. So instead of just getting one extra turn for 4 or for 5 mana, you're getting 2 extra turns for 5 mana. That's nuts. Because other ones don't really say target player, they just say take an extra turn. So I think this one in particular, really good.
Yeah. That it's incredible. That's good synergy.
It's incredible. And then lastly, that's not going to be one that you're going to probably be copying because it doesn't target anything, but it's really good value. So for 1 blue mana, Careful Study is a sorcery. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. That's it. That's really good for 1 mana. I don't think you can get any better than that. The deck actually does have a lot of things that would benefit from being in the graveyard, either that has a flashback cost or just ways to use those things again. So it's not so much a downside for this deck. And just drawing 2 for 1 mana is nuts, and that could be your first spell to kind of get the ball rolling. So really good card.
Yeah. Just keep cycling through your deck with this card. So just draw two, lose two. Throw the cards that maybe have flashback into the grave. It's good. Moving on, we've got some instants we are talking about. Talk to me about these ones.
Yes, sir. The first one I'm putting in is 3 steps ahead. It is an instant spree, so the starting cost is 1 blue mana. For an additional 1 in a blue, you can counter target spell. For an additional 3, you can create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control. And for an additional 2, you can draw 2 cards, discard a card. I like this card a lot in this deck for many reasons. The fact that it's so flexible and can be that counter when you need it. It could be the second spell and target a copy. That is great. Or it could just be the card that digs through your deck. So it's like literally just whatever you need in that situation, it's there for you. And if you have the mana, you want to do all of them, like why not? But maybe not counter, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, this card is always that utility piece that is there when you need it.
Yep. This one is just a good card. You might look at it and be like, yeah, of course you're throwing it in. Cyclonic Rift. It's going to go in my deck for 1 in a blue. Instant, return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. It's got overload of 6 in a blue, so you replace target with each. Really good card in blue. I'm sure you've seen it a bajillion times. I just like the fact that it could be a board wipe that is not just like a board wipe that stalemates the game. Typically, you're going to cast this and just run the game over at that point. So it kind of just progresses your gameplay. Big fan of it. I'm sure everyone likes it.
Yeah, premier board wipe in blue, and also, hey, if you are running far behind early game, technically you can use Cyclonic Rift to flurry.
Definitely. You definitely could. And then the last instant I'm throwing in here, the deck could be a bit of a problem and you might get targeted a little bit. So I wanted to just have a panic button. The Fairy's Protection is going to go in. 2 and a white for an instant until your next turn. Your life total can't change and you gain protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out, exile the Fairy's Protection. Kind of like Cyclonic Rift. I'm sure you've seen it a million times. But it's just good. It's really good in this deck. It doesn't maybe synergize with copying anything really, but I don't want to get targeted. I don't want to die. I want to be alive.
Nobody wants to die. All right, Jane, that looks like all of your kind of slinging spells. Let's go back to the permanent department. We have got 1 enchantment.
Yep. And this is my last one, I swear. I was just saying good card, good. But this deck is a bit of a heavier deck. There are aspects of, you're casting 5 mana spells. You need to be casting multiple spells in a turn. I need the mana. So Smothering Cat's going in my deck. 3 and a white, enchantment. When an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If that player doesn't, you create a treasure token. I'm sure again, just like Cyclonic and Teferis, we've seen it in a lot of decks. It's very quote unquote generically good, but it will truly help this deck a lot in the mana department.
Yeah, one of the things about the Spell Slinger deck is not only do you need spells to cast, you need the mana to cast them with, and Smothering
Yep,
Tide is going to fix that problem for you.
I really hope it does.
And finally, Shane, it looks like you touched the mana base just a little bit more. We have 4 lands we are throwing in.
With these final 4, I think that this mana base is humming. So the first one I'm throwing in is actually from the new set, Mysterized Village. It's a land that enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain or a forest. Taps for a blue, and then you can pay a blue, tap it. The next spell you cast this turn can't be countered. A lot of people are talking about this card. It's very good. It's making waves and even like CEDH. Just the fact that you can, for 1 blue mana, and then tapping this, of course, make the next thing you play uncounterable. Like, it's nuts, dude. And I think it's very valuable in a Spellslinger deck.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to make sure that flurry gets copied.
Yeah.
Um, this is a very good card. And however, it does say forest. You are not running any forests in here. It doesn't matter. You got another opportunity with mountains. So,
Yep.
very good card.
And luckily, it just says the word forest and doesn't have a green pip.
Yeah,
Otherwise, that would be illegal.
it
But
would be illegal.
it is not illegal. And then the last 3 I'm throwing in are just the good old-fashioned shocklands. So Hallowed Fountain, Sacred Foundry, and Steam Vents all going in. They all enter the battlefield tapped unless you pay 2 life, and they're really good. They tap for their respective colors. Hallowed Fountain is a white and a blue. Sacred Foundry is a red and a white, and Steam Vents is a blue and a red. Just kind of like the bond lands. Once I get a bigger budget, I tend to throw these in all my decks because they make the deck run smoother.
Yeah, I mean, easy. Fast mana wins games. But that looks like all your additions. Is that it?
That is it. That is my additions.
Perfect. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the part where we got to take out cards to fit these cards in. Before we do, once again, this is a sequel. So everything on screen is staying over from the $100 upgrade, correct?
That is correct. Didn't like them over there. Still don't kind of want them here, so we're going to keep cutting them.
Keep them out. And if you wanted the reasoning, once again, check the description below for that $100 upgrade video where Shane explains why. But we've got new cuts. So talk to me about, looks like 1 creature.
Yep, just the one. I'm adding 2, cutting 1. It's going to be Maniform Hellkite for me. For 2 and 2 red, it's a 4/4 dragon. Flying, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX red dragon illusion creature token with flying and haste, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. Exile that token at the beginning of the next end step. It's a pretty good card. I do like it. We're going to be hopefully being able to capitalize on it in this deck. And if you did like this card, by all means, do not take it out. I just figured that I'll be casting hopefully more spells than anything else, and I don't think I'm actually going to need this. I could be proven wrong, and we'll see how that goes in the future. But for the creature department, it was very, very tight. I'll tell you that right now. Looking at everything already in the deck, it all kind of has its purpose, and this was kind of at the lowest end for me, so I'm chopping it.
Yeah, this is a dragon that I feel like they just threw in just because, hey, we're dragon themed. Might as well. So, doesn't fit in this deck. Doesn't need to fit in the build.
Yeah.
Moving on, it looks like 3 sorceries.
Yes. The first one, Ancestral Vision, it's got a suspend for 4 for 1 blue mana. And then it says target player draws 3 cards. Now I did like, the 1 mana to draw 2. This is a delayed effect though, and the unfortunate part about this is this delayed effect could come off of, delay when your commander is not on the field. Maybe someone remove your commander, and then you don't. Because my thought would be make this the second spell, boom, or even just the first, I guess, get the train going. But if your commander's not there, I mean, drawing 3 cards is good still, but won't be able to capitalize on it. So I cut it out, and I don't know if you liked it again. A lot of these cuts, they're all my opinion. So if you didn't like them, don't cut them. But I don't like them in my build.
Yeah, suspend is a tough one. I mean, you're playing with spells that your opponents can very clearly see when they're gonna come off. So it's one of
And
those things of, hey, you know what? I'm going to kill your commander right as you cast that spell.
yeah, so, well, it's okay. I'm just gonna cut it. I'm also cutting Curse of the Swine. It's a board wipe I really don't like. It's not even a board wipe, but for X and 2 blue, sorcery, exile X creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller creates a 2/2 boar. I guess it is it is a board wipe because it's getting rid of the creatures, but it's still giving them creatures. I was never a big fan of this, and the fact that we're throwing in Cyclonic, like I wanted to make sure we have the board wipes, but we don't need these many board wipes.
Yep, I get it.
Speaking of board wipes, time wipe. 2 and 2 white and 1 blue. Sorcery. Return a creature you control to its owner's hand, then destroy all creatures. There was quite a bit of board wipes in this deck, and I just didn't need them all. I kept the one in. There's actually still 2. I think 2 is an appropriate amount, but I didn't need 4, so I cut 2 of them.
Yeah, well, they don't fit anymore. Just get rid of them. It makes
You got
sense.
better stuff.
Speaking of better stuff, it looks like we're cutting out 2 instants to make room for those other instants.
Yep, the first one just a braid. 1 and a red for an instant. Choose 1. The braid deals 3 damage to target creature, or destroy target artifact. I mean, it's solid. It's good removal, good damage. It just seems a little lackluster. You could be doing more for the mana, and I just cut it out. Seems kind of a precon card to me, in circumstances though.
Yeah, Braid is always hit and miss for me. 3 damage, I feel like, in a game of EDH is probably not going to do too much. And then destroying 1 target artifact, it's just okay, in my opinion.
Unless the artifact's gonna win them the game, which I guess could happen, but I don't know. I cut it out in my build. I'm also gonna be cutting Narset's Reversal for 2 blue mana. It's an instant. Copy target instant and sorcery spell, then return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy. I get that you could target anybody's with this, and Steven would hate me for cutting this card. But whenever I think of these cards, I always think of just kind of combo-y things that you want to be doing like degenerately. And at least for me, in the way I play Magic, I don't really play too many degenerate style decks, and I don't really like the way that Narset Reversal plays if you're not playing degenerately.
Hey, this is your build. You do what you want.
I do. I get to do what I want. It's great.
Speaking of doing what you want, looks like you've removed a brand new card, Artifacts.
I hate doing it, but I did it. I was not impressed with this card at all. Adaptive Training Post is 2 and a blue. Artifact. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if this artifact has fewer than 3 charge counters on it, put a charge counter on it. Then you can remove 3 charge counters from this artifact. When you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. It's a good free way to get a copy, but my goodness, it's slow. And it just sits there and like, okay, I'm gonna pay for 3 and do nothing and nothing and nothing. And it's just like I get that it wants to do something cool. It's just so slow. And I didn't like it.
Yeah, this one is very slow. It's like a level up kind of system, right? You got to get a bunch of spells cast after you spent 3 mana to play this card. And then you get the charge counters, and then you have to remove those charge counters, and then you can do that in, and then you can do it again. It's just to build it up, build it up, build it up, bring it down. I'm not a fan of that card either.
Yeah.
Moving on to enchantments.
Yeah, they kind of just felt out of place in my opinion. I get maybe why they're there because they target, but I didn't like them in the build. So Curse of Opulence is 1 red mana. Enchantment Aura Curse. Enchant player. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, create a gold token. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. It's great on turn 1. You put it on one player, they get really mad at you. You kind of just upset the person for the rest of the game. And then some people just don't even attack them, which makes no sense. But this card, in theory, I always feel like does better than in practice. I just don't like the way that it plays out a lot of the time. And it just kind of felt weird in this deck. Like I get why it targets something, so you can copy that, do it twice, but then you're targeting 2 players, making 2 players pissed off. Like I don't know. I don't like this card.
Yeah, every time I play Crystal Opulence, I feel like I get targeted for being the mean one
Yeah.
to that player.
Yeah. Everyone goes, "Oh, why'd you do that? That's so mean." And then 3 players looking at you. Same thing goes for Shiny Impetus. For 2 and a red, it's an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, you create a treasure token. Seems really weird again in this build. I guess because it targets, that's probably the only reason. But we don't really care about goading, and you're just kind of upsetting people for the sake of upsetting people. Like it just doesn't really play the way I want to be playing this deck, so I cut it.
Yeah, makes sense. Doesn't fit in the build. And finally, Shane, we did see you add 4 lands. Which 4 lands are we taking out?
Yeah, I'm actually doing the thing where I'm completely just one for oneing. I wanted to keep the land base at the same level. So we're cutting Evolving Wilds and Perilous Landscape. They're both not good. They're both precons. You Evolving Wilds, you can sacrifice, search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And then Perilous Landscape is a land that can tap for a colorless. You can sacrifice this land, search your library for a basic island, mountain, or plains, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. It also has cycling for blue, red, and white. So like I said, it's a little bit upside, but either way, both these cards, not a big fan. Very precon-y, very slow, very meh.
Yeah, I'd rather draw a land that produces colored mana right away.
Very true. And then for these next two, I just hate filtering. Some people might like it. I hate it. So Furious Lake and Sky Cloud Expanse both getting out. Furious Lake, you could pay one, tap it, add a blue and a red. And then Sky Cloud, you can pay one, tap it, add a white and a blue. I just can't stand the whole like these lands don't tap for anything, so I have to remember never to leave this the last to be tapped. And then it's like, all right, I gotta tap this to get this color. Like, if you like to do that, really cool. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting these in your first 7, you look at your hand, you go, well, I cannot play these other cards because these lands actually don't tap for mana unless I have other mana to put into it. So you're probably mulliganing. And I don't like that because of these cards. So these cards are not good. I am glad you got them. But is that going to do it, Shane? Is that all of your additions and cuts for your
That is
$300
it.
upgrade?
That's my upgrade.
Perfect. I like it. Well, you all know the question I'm about to ask Shane. So, Shane, you were given $300. What is the total amount of money you spent to upgrade the deck?
I came under budget. So at the time of recording and the time of making this upgrade, you can go out and pick them all up for $293.
Perfect. And we do these upgrades before the set is released, so they were pre-order pricing. So who knows? Maybe some of the cards have dropped in price.
I'm sure they have.
But one more question for you, Shane. How do you feel about Narset and Shiko, or Shiko and Narset as it says on the card, as a commander and how the deck runs?
I think it's cool. I am typically not one to play this whole Spellslinger style deck. That's more of like Steven's alley, and I know he was curious on how I built it. But I built it the way I'd like to play, and that is having big impactful spells be the second one. So it's a little different because when I think of Spellslinger, I think of like a large amount of spells, where this deck really just cares about the two because it's all about flurry. So it's a little interesting. You got to set up your turns appropriate. You have to cast something maybe a little smaller first, then cast the one you care about doubling. But I mean, then again, you don't always have to do that. I do like the fact that you could just draw cards. So if you don't copy the spell, draw a card. I think it's very versatile and kind of a fan of it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it seems very cool. I'm very excited to play against it when we do our $300 battle. Saw it in the $100 battle. It was very cool then too. So, but once again, everybody at home, if you guys wanted to check out this deck list, check the link in the description right there. Playtest it yourself. While you're down there, hit the like button if you liked this video. Subscribe to the channel once again, so you're staying up to date with everything I've got putting out, including, like I said, those battles. You don't want to miss those. Also in the description, you will find links to all of our social media accounts. Check those out. Leave Shane a comment down below. Did you like this upgrade? Maybe there was a card that Shane missed. Maybe there was a card that Shane cut that you didn't like. Always interested to hear you guys' opinions. On the screen right now, those are all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your added support. It really does mean the world to us if you guys wanted to check out what they're seeing, which is not here on YouTube, including that backup $300 upgrade to Elsha, the backup of this Jeskai Striker deck. It is exclusive on our Patreon. Check the link in the description and consider subscribing. But a very special shout out to our Gains Indestructible tier, starting with
Ryan Ganella,
Daryl Tripp,
Demarion Turner,
Dr. Jerome,
Jimmy Ward,
Kevo,
Larry Killian,
Thrifty PSGR.
and Tim K.
You guys are awesome. Appreciate every single one of you. And until the next video, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Bye bye.